Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today, thanks to Clive Sutton Limited, I'm taking you on an in-depth exterior and interior tour and exhaust sound video of this 2020 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. Clive Sutton Limited have this and many other high specification cars for sale at the time of publishing, and all of their contact details can be found in the description of the video. In addition to the standard Shelby GT500, Clive Sutton Limited also have an even more rare track pack version for sale, and I'll focus on some of the main differences between that and this throughout the video. The GT500 title has existed since its inception in 1967. It was first powered by a Ford Cobra engine, hence the enduring association this model has with the Cobra and Super Snake. Since the very first model, GT500 has represented the most powerful and fastest Mustang in Ford's range, and that is no different here. Constructed from a welded steel body, this latest GT500 is the longest Mustang from the current range, and comes in at 4,813mm long, 25mm longer than the standard GT, 1,379mm high, or 1,363mm in the track pack with its performance suspension, 1,945mm wide, 30mm wider, and weighs 1891 kilograms. We can now move to the car's powertrain, but before we can view the engine, we first need to unlatch the bonnet by pulling the lever found to the left of the driver's footwell. Then moving around to the front, two racing-style catches need to be pressed to unlock the bonnet. Once both of these steps have been completed, the bonnet can then be unlatched at the front and then lifted up and self-supported by a single strut. Still looking at the bonnet, the black central cover can be exchanged for a more open, track-focused alternative to enhance cooling. Surrounded by composite carbon for enhanced weight saving, GT500 is powered by a lightweight, front-mounted, aluminium 5.2-litre supercharged V8 that produces 753 brake horsepower and 847 Nm of torque sent through only the rear wheels. This output results in a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time of 3.5 seconds and a limited top speed of 180 mph. Once finished in the front, the bonnet can be brought down and fixed below with a firm pull or press. Now moving down to the wheels, this car comes with front and rear 20-inch flow-formed multi-spoke alloys. The track pack car can be spec'd with full carbon multi-spoke wheels. The car's braking is provided by the largest brakes to ever be fitted to a Ford road car, 420mm ventilated Brembo high-performance discs at each corner. GT500 stability is provided by custom double ball joint McPherson struts at the front and independent integral link suspension at the rear with coil springs. The front and rear also come with tubular stabilizer bars for enhanced rigidity, and ride is controlled through the adjustable and active MagneRide damping system. And finally, there's also a Torsen limited slip rear axle for enhanced driving dynamics. Now we've finished the model overview, we start the in-depth exterior tour from the front to back, making comparisons to the standard 20 Mustang GT as we progress. The front of GT is unsurprisingly much more aggressive. It starts at the bottom with the new extended body panel. Above this, the lowest intake is much longer than in the standard car for enhanced air inflow. This is for the central radiator, but there are channels that aid brake cooling to the sides. A new central arch divides the central from the side intakes, which are much more open than in the standard car with a thicker light array above. The top central intake and the black central strut have been moved up. This gloss black strut comes with GT500 embossed into it, and there are also side air channels above, possibly also for the brakes. All of these enhanced intakes increase cooling by 50% on the GT350. Moving back, the long bonnet is far more aggressive. It starts with the central stripes and catches on either side, with the new unmissable cooling vents centrally that create a raised section that runs back, reminiscent of other GT500 models. The wide windscreen behind with two wipers below seem unchanged. The roof behind features dynamic lines either side of the stripes, the latter being the only bespoke feature here. We can now move to GT500's lateral aspect. GT500 comes with a new dual-level side skirt that comes with a small winglet and extended section at the front to better control airflow. Above, the Cobra replaces the 5.0 insignia from the standard GT. Continuing up, the wing mirrors appear more streamlined here and are presented in gloss black. These come with integrated indicators and a blind spot assist function. The large door handles behind are unchanged and hint at the car's keyless entry system. Back from this, and on the left side here, the fuel tank flap sits on the extended rear arch. It can be opened and closed with a light press. GT500 comes with a 60-litre fuel tank and returns an estimated combined MPG of 24. Moving up from this, we come to the rear of the roof, where we find the antenna and rear LED strip brake light. Just as with the windscreen, the large rear window below seems unchanged from the standard cars. Continuing back, we come to the new gloss black hybrid spoiler wing that produces an extra 172 kg of rear downforce for enhanced rear traction at higher speeds. In comparison, the lifted carbon wing on the track pack car can produce up to 250 kilograms of downforce at the rear. Moving down to the very rear of GT500, we first come to the reversing camera and larger Cobra below. On either side are angular tri-LED light complexes that, other than their colour, appear unchanged. The black diffuser below is largely the same, apart from the new extended central section. There are openings on either side for the quad-exit valve-controlled sports exhaust. Let's hear how it sounds with the valves open and closed. Now we've finished the exterior tour, we can move inside. GT500 comes with generally the same key fob as in the standard car, but instead of the horse, there's a Cobra. It comes with buttons for unlock, lock, remote start, boot-lid release, and then the horn. Once unlocked, the large handles can be grabbed and pulled out easily, as can the doors. Looking at the interior, we see it has the same layout as in the standard car, but comes with Shelby seat embroidery and Alcantara and carbon fibre for a more race car aesthetic. We can now start the in-depth interior tour with the doors. The top is the same as in the standard car and starts with an LED lock indicator. Below, the central panel comes with a new white leather detail and smooth leather upholstery. Moving along, we come to the door release, 3-stage seat memory and interior lock controls, and the first speaker from the 10-speaker B&O system. The moulded, leather upholstered armrest is below. It's accompanied by the chrome-edged door handle and the controls for the electric windows and mirrors. The smooth lower section of the door runs along to the open storage area and second speaker. As GT500 is still a fastback coupe with a very average size sill, ingress and egress is a straightforward process. GT500 comes with the same black kickplate as the standard car, but with a new Ford Performance inlay. As we move up, we come to the bonnet release, the pedals, the boot release and exterior light and cruise control controls in a carbon inlay and the first manually adjustable air vent above. Looking right, we come to the steering wheel. The main differences to that in the standard car is the Alcantara upholstery with white 12 o'clock marker and central Cobra. Contrast stitch on the inside takes us down to controls for volume, suspension and steering mode and cruise control to the left, and menu selection, voice commands and infotainment direct access controls to the right. As GT500 is keyless go, it can be started by pressing the red button to the left of the central column. Once pressed, the 12-inch digital instrument cluster ahead lights up. But before we can take a closer look at this, we must first note the shift paddles for the Tremex 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. Now looking ahead, to the left it starts with the rev gauge and engine temperature. Information can be displayed centrally, with mileage and gear selected below. The screen ends to the right with the speedo, drive modes and fuel level. The Cobra menu starts with My Mode to save driving configurations, track apps to more closely measure driving ability on track, the shift indicator, gauge setup, exhaust mode, appearance and tort of the screen's colour. The central screen can also display whether normal or sport mode damping has been selected and which mode steering has been placed into. Moving up, the dash starts with the tweeter integrated into the A-pillar. The leather upholstered dash is broken into driver and passenger raised areas and ends to the right with the other tweeter. Now moving down onto the central column, we first come to the gloss carbon strip with the dual manual adjustable air vents. Between these are two gauges, oil pressure to the left and oil temperature to the right. Below these, we come to the main 8-inch infotainment touchscreen display with Sync 3. This system starts with a home screen, broken into 3 options with a menu below. The first screen we can access is audio for the FM and DAB digital radio and media via external devices. Climate comes next, so the user can control air temperature, air direction and fan speed for the single or dual zones. The following option is phone for wireless calls and messages and access to the contacts list. The navigation screen is next. This needs to be set up, as this is a brand new car, but we can see here it's quite responsive to touch controls. Apps can be used to download additional software, such as Spotify and Waze. Below the screen, we come to the first physical control array that starts with the volume rotary, then buttons for the media system, and finally the tuner rotary. The second physical array below starts with the driver's 3-stage heated and ventilated seat controls, then the driver's zone temperature, front and rear demist, fan speed with system on-off above, and recirculation below, then AC controls, the passenger's zone temperature, and passenger's heated and ventilated seat controls. The final physical array starts with the engine on-off button, then hazard lights, traction control off-on, exhaust valve mode, and driving mode. Below this are single USB and 12-volt inputs and a small storage area. Continuing back, we come to the drive rotary to put the car in either park, reverse, neutral, drive, or manual mode, with electric parking brake control to its right. Between this and the main central storage area are 2 open cup holders. The dual, leather upholstered armrest behind can be opened easily by lifting the small catch to the side and lifting up. Inside, we find another single USB and 12-volt input with a very usable amount of storage behind. Moving away from the central column, we come to the seats. These are generally the same as in the standard Mustang, but come with Cobra embroidery, contrast stitch, and new white inserts just below the shoulders. As previously mentioned, they are also heated and ventilated and fully electrically adjustable, with all movement controls found to the outside edge. In comparison, the Track Pack variant gets leather upholstered and manually adjustable Recaro half bucket seats to further increase weight reduction. Returning to the standard GT500, to move into the rear, this lever needs to be pulled so the front seat can be tilted forwards. The rear of GT500 is laid out in the same way as in the standard Mustang, but the 2 fixed seats come with contrast stitching and enhanced padding. Now taking a POV tour of the rear, the first feature is the wallet storage to the rear of the front seats. As GT500 is a fastpack, its seating configuration is more of a 2+2, and as such offers quite limited seating capacity in the rear. Moving back to the front, we can view GT500's remaining storage capacity, where we can start with the glove compartment. Just above this space is the GT500 chassis number plaque for authenticity. The lockable glove compartment below can be easily opened by pressing the lock to the left. And taking a look inside, we find it offers quite a large and illuminated storage area. Now moving outside, the boot lid can be opened with the buttons on the key, that on the driver's side or here. GT500 features a standard Mustang boot that offers a total capacity of 328 litres. Taking a closer look at this space, we find an indentation to the left, central split which suggests the rear seats might be able to be folded, and the B&O subwoofer to the right. Once finished in the rear, the boot lid can be easily brought down and fixed below. Moving back inside briefly, we can view GT500's remaining features. On either side there are large sun visors with illuminated vanity mirrors. Centrally we come to the reading lights and long rearview mirror. So that concludes my in-depth exterior and interior tour and exhaust sound video of this 2020 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. That's for sale with Clive Sutton Limited at the time of publishing. All of their contact details are in the description of the video. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, thanks for watching.